Meanwhile, the NFF Electoral Committee 2022 has cleared a total of 11 persons to contest for the position of president at the Federation's elections scheduled for Benin City. And also now, joining me in the studio to look at preparations ahead of the NFF elections is the FCTFA chairman and presidential candidate Adam Mouktar. Thanks for joining me here on Newsnight, Mouktar.
I'm glad to be on the show today.
Yeah, thank you. To begin, you have been cleared to contest in the next elections. However, there are some people who are dissatisfied with the process leading to the elections. Well, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think the process has been fairly very credible in terms of how things have unfolded, because taking into account the leading up to the Congress that even ratified the election process, then you'd realize that there wasn't any time, and the time constraint has led to things being very tight. So up until now, I think everything has gone smoothly so far, and there is an appeals committee set up. If you're dissatisfied with any of the processes, then you can go straight there to seek redress and put your grievances.
Away from that, looking at the present state of Nigerian football, what qualities should the next NFF leader possess?
I think it's fairly clear that there are a lot of issues and problems bedeviling Nigerian football. And like I always say, we as key stakeholders in the game, we should see it as a trust we're holding for 200 million people. Nigeria is a footballing nation. It's a giant in football around the world. We're well known for that, but we haven't been having the right results. And the reasons why is there fundamental problems from the foundation of football and the administration of football that need to be rectified and ensure that football is set up to grow organically in the country. So I think what you need is, you need someone, number one, who is passionate, someone who has invested a lot in terms of his life, his efforts, and so on and so forth. So you need somebody who is well ingrained and has knowledge of the game in different segments. Why I say that is, you could just be an administrator, but you don't understand the business side of football. And government has clearly spoken in terms of making football as a business, not a recreation as it used to be in the past. And funding is constrained as well. So you need someone who is smart enough, is credible enough to look at how to raise funding, how to organize football from the grassroots, how to reorganize the league, and how to ensure that the national teams restore their past glory. Because sponsorship is directly linked to the success of the national team. Without that glory, like us not going to the World Cup, there's no company that would give you money.
Yeah, and talking about funding here in Nigerian football, there have been talks about Nigerian football not being as business-oriented as seen in Europe and the likes. What are the steps that are needed to ensure that football in Nigeria is not just seen as leisure, but seen as something that could bring in revenue for the government?
Yes, so you need people who are intelligent and smart enough and understand the whole circle of how it works, because there are models that are working around the world, in England, in Spain, and we don't need to recreate a new model. We can just copy and paste what is existing, but we can of course tweak it to make it work to our situation here in Nigeria. But I think what we need is really basic stuff. We need infrastructure, because TV cannot work without proper stadiums that are safe. Then we need fans to come to the stadiums. And how do you do that? You need to attract them. You need people to come with their families. They need to have all the necessary facilities in the stadium, and they feel secure, they feel safe, and they feel that they're going to watch an entertaining match. And then we need to look at the refereeing. Then we need to look at the TV rights. How will the clubs earn money? Because you see, most of the league clubs currently are owned by government. We need to change that. We need to get investors to come to agree to partner But for you to get people to put their money, you need your image to be good. So I think we need to rebrand Nigerian football from scratch. We need people who have credibility, people who are honest, people who love football and are passionate about it, to grow it from the scratch.
Okay, now, as the elections draw closer, what do you think should be the role of the government concerning election matters?
Well, I think government has provided all the enabling environment, because if you look at all the facilities that are being used, they're from government. The stadiums and the training facilities across the country. So government has provided funding as well to the best of its ability. I think government wants to see the NFF being sustainable on its own. How can it grow as an entity? How can it finance itself, and how can it even make a profit like other countries? So I think government is looking for the right partner to come into the NFF and develop it to that kind of level.
You've been in charge of football here in the FCT for the past 3 years. What do you say are your legacies, some of your legacies?
Well, I think I can humbly say that we came in with a vision, with a plan, and we were able to achieve 100% of what we promised our electorates. And when we met football in the FCT, it was at an all-time low. The league was disorganized. There was no grassroots competitions. There were no international partnerships and tournaments. And basically the FCT was not at the forefront. And we wanted to restore that glory. So we asked ourselves, how do we do that? We came with a plan. We wanted to redo the facilities, and we were able to achieve at least refurbishing 2 major facilities in the city center, and then we were able to do a new one out in Buari Area Council, which is one of the area councils in FCT. And we have a brand new world-class FIFA standard mini stadium there that we think is huge. It's historic. It's the first of its kind, and I think it will help grow football in Abuja. And then we've trained over 120 coaches. They have certified, and they can get jobs, and they can go and train the young grassroots players across the 6 area councils to develop football. That is really about what is football development all about. And I think the funding will come when you look at how we ran the league. We ran the league in a very transparent manner. We put up prize money, we paid it on time, we paid up the referees ahead of the games. So we did a lot of things that restored confidence, and we didn't collect a dime from any sponsor. We agreed with them on what they were going to contribute, and they did so. And they were very impressed with the way we ran the league. And the next year we had more sponsorship, more support. So I think it's an organic thing that when people trust you, when people see what you're doing, and you have the right set of team working, they would give you the money. It's like every country in the world that we see. But I don't know if we're ready to do it, but if we're ready to do it, it is possible.
Thank you so much, Adam Mouktar, for joining us here on Newsnight on Rise News.